It's time for a new episode of Poker Time. We've got a lot of the same returning players, including fan favorites Action Aaron and Randy.
It's not just a new episode, Jonathan.
Yeah.
It's a whole new session.
That's true.
It's a whole new session. We have a new, it's a lot of the same players, right?
But also a new lineup in some ways because we have a new player joining the ranks.
Yeah, we have Taylor, who is a pro. Now, last time, my favorite thing was trying to see Wonka navigate these guys because these guys are playing nuts, and Wonka's just trying to make a profit here, right? He's doing whatever he can to do it. He made certain adjustments. He played pretty tight. He sized it up when he raised. I wonder if Taylor will make the same adjustments as Wonka or if he'll change it up a little bit.
They're also going to have to play against each other, of course, so that's going to be an interesting dynamic as well. One other thing to look out for, Action Aaron and Randy, they're going to mix it up pretty early on in this session.
Is that a surprise?
It's never a surprise.
Yeah, they're going to get
mix
into
it up
right away.
all the time.
Yeah.
All right, let's shuffle up and deal. Yeah. The newest session of Poker Time finally begins.
It's a whole new session.
It's a whole new session, but a lot of the same players are here.
We're seven-handed. Everybody is somebody you've seen before if you're a Poker Time viewer, except for Taylor.
Yep.
Taylor's a new player. He's a good player. He's a pro. Let's see how he adjusts to the game.
You will recognize the lineup besides that from past episodes, but they're in different seats because we always do a random draw.
This is weird. Randy's raising to 10 under the gun to start. I guess just because it's the first hand. And look at this. First hand, Wonka gets aces. He had to wait a long time for aces last time.
It's true. He won a huge pot last time with aces. Let's see how big this one's going to be.
Makes it 50, and I think it's just,
And that's it.
Taylor folds before we can even move the camera, and that's very disappointing first hand for Wonka.
It's tough for Wonka, too, because Randy's the kind of guy, when he opens under the gun, he almost never folds to re-raises. And the under the gun range is as strong as you could hope for.
I guess it was just a first hand thing. He's like, it's the first hand, I'm going to min-raise under the gun because why not?
I'm Randy.
Yeah, this is what I do. I'm the Terminator.
Yep.
See Batiste there?
Batiste, maybe going for the Brad Pitt look, but I'm seeing more Marsha myself.
What do you mean Brad Pitt? When has Brad Pitt ever had hair like that?
Legends of the Fall.
Okay, yeah, that's the one everybody thinks of.
That was his first big movie.
Yeah, that's definitely the one everybody thinks of.
I think he's going for Brad Pitt.
Meanwhile, we have the nut low versus the king nine. I'm surprised Randy didn't raise there.
Me too.
And I think we're going to have a win by Randy here most of the time.
I wonder if Wonka's ever even going to... Okay, in this case, it's an easy fold. I wonder if he was even going to bluff at it. I wouldn't be surprised if he just checked all three streets and just let Randy win.
Yep.
With $10 in the pot.
Who cares?
Yeah, that's not... I don't think his strategy is to try and win tiny pots against Randy and Aaron. I think he's trying to win the big pots and stay out of the medium size and smaller ones. But we'll see as we go along here.
Well, we've seen what Wonka did last time. He
Yeah.
waited for his spots. He did get a cooler spot against Batiste to
He
double
sure did.
up, and
That was where he won all his money.
ended up having a great session because of that hand.
That one hand did it all. It's kind of interesting in No Limit how it can go that way. You just you tread water for so long and you have one big moment.
Check out check out all the sheep on Jake's sweater.
Yeah.
Think he's trying to make his opponent sleepy?
They have to try and count them, though. If they had numbers on them, I would think he was trying to make them sleepy.
I see.
But I don't see any numbers, so.
All right, here we go. Action Aaron and Randy. Here comes the first conflict of the session between these two guys.
Randy does put in the 3-bet, as expected.
When you're Randy, you should 3-bet eights, I think. You give so much action, you might as well get value from eights.
I mean, especially against a range as wide as Action Aaron is going to be, right? I mean, some guys maybe not. If Digital Dan bets, maybe not.
Well, that's a good flop for Aaron.
Yeah. Randy's probably going to lose a little bit of money on this. Oh, he definitely is going to lose a little bit of money on this.
Reasonable to bet.
Of course. It's fine, although you normally check to the razor, but it's fine. Aaron's just sitting there thinking, I usually have the best hand.
He's raising. No, you just called. Never mind. I was wrong, Jonathan.
Yep. I like just the call.
Ooh, that's not fair.
That.
At least it's a club.
And Randy has a real reaction to this. It is a third club.
It would kind of suck to get raised if you're Randy right now, but you couldn't fold unless the sizing was ridiculous.
Randy is 100% never folding, especially to Aaron. I think he would check call the river as well.
And Aaron
without
can't.
A club.
Aaron can't call fast enough here.
Yeah, it's not a good card for Aaron.
Not
because it improves Randy, but
Aaron might
want to
consider slowing down. I mean, it is Randy though, and that's gonna make Randy feel pretty good.
I don't know, man. Are you ever supposed to fold if you're Aaron here? I assume Randy's gonna bet kind of big.
I think against
350,
against
400.
some players you can fold, but I don't think Randy's necessarily a candidate to fold against.
I agree. I think this is a hold on and lose spot for Aaron. Let's see how much Randy sizes it to.
Looks Like,
Whoa.
what is that? Oh, no, some of those are green.
Okay.
325?
Yeah, I think it would be. I think it's probably a losing play to fold this hand long term for Aaron here. So, but let's see if he can make a great fold.
Clearly, you're not beating any value. Let's be clear about that.
Right. But Randy's the kind of guy who will just, fire without it. This is a reasonable spot to tank.
Looks like he's just putting the call together.
Yeah, I think that's the right play.
Not
Get
much
the
you can
bad
do.
News.
Pretty good turn card there.
Yeah, Aaron decides to give the free show to Randy in the table of his King Jack. Let
He's
everyone know how he got sucked out
showing
on.
he's playing tight today. He has a real hand, and he has a hand that actually flopped well, and he didn't just end up with a nothing hand.
You think that's going to change his rep at the table and his image?
No.
Me either.
I think he just wants to show that he got pretty unlucky.
Yeah, a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
Digital Dan, well known for doing
Oh, yeah.
that. You're going to see in episodes Digital Dan showing his hand when he gets
Also,
sucked
with
out
all
on.
of the rage.
No, I'm just saying by just flatting each bet, because you're calling and then you get there.
This hand's way too good for Action Aaron to fold. This is high up in his range of under the gun hands, believe it or not.
His name is Aaron, and his first name is Action, so of course.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're not going anywhere.
Randy's
Here we
certainly
go
gonna call
again.
this. Some players would 3-bet this. Randy's going to call. It's not the end of the world to do so.
We should just let these guys play heads up. Am I right, Jonathan?
I have no response.
You
Here we go.
You hear people say stuff like that.
Oh, of course you do.
Randy outflops Aaron again, although he already had the best hand, and I
Aaron-
guess he outturned him last time.
Aaron, it's a pretty good flop for Aaron, though, as well.
Goes check, check really quickly.
Aaron decides not to fire on the king turn. I'm surprised.
And Randy checks back again.
A lot of good cards. There's a great card, the best card for Aaron.
Aaron got there.
Except hard to get paid. A queen gets you paid, maybe. This shouldn't really get you paid. How much
50 into 50.
I expect we're going to see a fold from Randy.
Yeah, it's a good fold.
Yeah. Especially when Aaron goes check, check, 50 on this card, which is supposed to be better for Randy anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, Aaron wasn't trying to steal this pot. He does try and steal a lot of pots, but this was not one of them. So I like the fold by Randy. He may have to call with a hand like top pair, but bottom pair, he probably just has to fold.
Middle pair, wasn't it?
I think it was bottom pair. Fine, middle pair, because it's 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, there are better hands we can show up with there.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Way, way, way better hands. Even against Aaron, based on that line.
You think Aaron would play Dan's hand there under the gun?
Yes. I do. Do you?
Probably.
Come on. Of course he would.
Randy's
gonna play this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's Randy.
He's in the cutoff.
He
This
loves
is-
poker. He loves to play poker.
Yeah. And he's going to, these two guys are going to go at it a lot. And they're going
look
to
at these hands.
right.
These
They're going to
classic.
put each other to a lot of decisions. By the way, Randy dominating both flushes here. If it's 5 red cards, look out.
Cooler alert.
It's an ace high board. Watch out.
I think this is going to be over. I don't think Aaron's
Yep.
going to take a stand on this one.
Randy loves winning with the 6 high, but he had way the best of it.
He should have checked for pot control and heroed.
Yeah, I mean, it could have come Jack 3, and then you just win with 6 high.
And you call. River's a pot size bet. You go
I have to
call.
call. I mean, I can beat
Five,
exactly
five deuces.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
All right, Wonka's probably going to open this one.
for sure. Easy open. I think this is an UTG open for Wonka, but certainly 7-handed +1. This is an open.
And this is a call for Randy.
Maybe a 3-bet.
No, a call.
Okay.
Batiste folds the same hand as Wonka, although unsuited. He
It's a
knows
surprising
Wonka's
fold.
He knows about Wonka's rep. He's the one who claims Wonka to be the tightest person in the world.
Still, that's a relatively tight fold in position.
Yes.
And in this game. Wow.
Ooh.
Randy
Well-
this should cost Randy at least a little something.
Yeah. What a feeling.
Just flop the quads. And you get Randy betting 55. How's Dan going to play it?
Just call.
It's reasonable. He's crushing the board.
Randy has a lot of bluffs in his range, so you don't want to chase those away.
But at the same point, all the draws are going to have to call a raise.
Well, Wonka would have gotten there on the turn.
Yeah. But Wonka wasn't going to call the bet anyway. Randy, I assume, is going to check this back a lot. He does.
He did. And I guess Dan's going to bet, and Randy's going to think about it and probably fold, I would guess.
He could reasonably call or fold. Both are reasonable. Let's
Put
see how
Dan
Dan
on
sizes
spades
it.
if he wants to.
He could. 8-9 is now beating him, but would it value bet?
No.
110 into 190, and Randy's got a decision. His kicker does not play. That's good, but would Dan value bet a 7? It's unlikely.
I lean towards a fold here.
We can beat spades, and that's about it. 5-8 gets there. 9-8 gets there if he's betting it. A 6 always had him, and Dan likely has a 6 when he plays it like this anyway, if he's betting for value. I guess the nut flush draw gets there.
And he can't help showing it, Digital Dan, and I don't blame him.
Yeah, you think Dan has the ace of spades in his hand a lot or a 6 a lot for value?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's got to feel good, though. Just flop quads. Boom. Everything's so comfortable and slow. The problem is it's hard to get paid when you flop quads, Just hard.
I mean, when it's 6s, it's easier than if it's aces. At least we got that.
Yeah, that's true. If Randy had just checked the flop, Dan was going to make probably some more money. Probably a second street of value against Nick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonka. Action Aaron on the button. Hey, come on, he's got position.
He's action Aaron. And Taylor, we're going to see Taylor for the first time here with the ace-queen off. Just going to flat out of the big blind. If he knew these guys a little bit better from the last session, he might have 3-bet that hand.
Would have had to consider it anyway. Everybody misses.
I assume Batiste is going to win this hand a lot, unless Aaron decides to get a little wonky.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if Aaron does not fold, even though it doesn't really make any sense. Because he's on the button.
And he does. He's going to call. I like calling better than raising.
Yeah.
He's going to rep it later.
It's also great for his range. This board is certainly better for his range than Batiste's.
Although Batiste has more overpairs, obviously. And look at that. Aaron gets there.
It's going to be hard to fold on this turn if you're Aaron. Batiste is going to keep firing. It's kind of fun. Can't imagine Aaron's going to fold right now.
No, I don't imagine he will.
Is Batiste going to triple barrel, or is he going to give up? Because
Calls
now you can't
quickly.
beat 4-5 anymore. I think we may give up here.
Ooh, he got there.
Well, he doesn't have to do anything now.
Just check probably here and gets to win with the fun run out.
Let's see the face.
Aaron may get to win that hand if he doesn't improve.
Yes, that's right. Maybe Batiste. The thing is, Aaron might give up on the turn anyway a lot if he doesn't improve. Batiste fired the second bullet.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe he was just hoping to find a check on the turn from Batiste. And
Yeah.
it's interesting when your plans change mid-hand, when you float with something like the 7 high and
You pick up something.
you pick up something, you're like, oh, I guess it's different now.
Yeah.
And
Now we're bluff catching.
I'm going to look weird when we showdown, and I'm going to have to explain myself a little bit, I
Yeah,
guess.
you don't have to ever explain yourself in poker. It's one of the things I love about it.
Looks like Randy has blind raised, by the way, here
Yep.
to 15 or 20.
It is a
15.
All right. Well, raising in the dark, you cannot straddle in Portland. Hoping to get that changed at some point, but this is the next best thing. You raise without seeing your cards, and it's not live.
And Jake, who is a pro, 3-bets it to 45, which isn't really a 3-bet. He realizes it's
Right.
just like a third blind.
It's just a raise. Aaron, of course, cannot call fast enough with the 10-7 suited.
Which is reasonable, considering
It's-
it's just a blind.
It's reasonable. They're relatively deep. He's in position. I can justify this. I might find a fold myself, but it's reasonable.
How long do you think it'll be before Aaron or Randy is not in one of the pots?
That's a fair question. Good flop for everybody. Jake flops the worst, but he's still got overs and a gutter.
This is an okay flop for Jake.
Double gutter for Randy. An action Aaron with top pair.
Jake's going to bet it. That's interesting. Against these two guys, this is all over their ranges, but I guess he just assumes he's going to get through enough of the time.
I mean, every board is all over these guys' ranges.
That's true.
There's
true.
nothing that isn't, so.
And he's going to get called in 2 spots. That's shutdown time for Jake
Jay
unless he
says-
improves.
He's like, bring me a 6. Turns out he'd really love a 6. But instead, Randy improves.
Randy improves massively. He's now got the nut flush draw and a double gutter.
It's not a terrible time to dunk. I love this dunk by Randy.
And by double gutter, I mean straight. He has a straight.
So I love this. I love that it looks like he's betting. I think this is great. He often bets when he doesn't have it and a scare card comes. So this is a scare card that he often would be bluffing on, but he's got it this time.
And he has the ace of clubs, which is a card he might bluff this with anyway.
Mm-hmm.
He knows his opponents don't have the ace of clubs, which makes it more easy for them to put him on it.
Aaron looks like he's considering just throwing away top pair, which I wouldn't expect him to do, but
It is kind of the worst card in the deck, though. It's one of the worst cards in the deck.
I mean, there's a lot. There's all the clubs that are bigger. That isn't the 10 of clubs.
Okay,
are
well,
worse
it
cards in the
completes
deck.
it completes straights and flushes. How
I mean,
about
the
that?
6 of clubs is a worse card. There's a lot of worse cards. The 8 of clubs is a
All
worse
right,
card.
I was speaking slightly
The
hyperbolically.
3 of clubs is a worse card.
Wow.
I can keep going.
You're really going to be like
The
this?
king of clubs is a worse card.
It's one of the worst cards in the deck.
It's a
for
bad
his
card.
hand.
How about that?
A straight completing, flush completing card when you have top pair with no redraw. How
you don't
about
really
that?
put someone on ace 3 very often, though. You don't put Randy on ace 3 that often.
It's Randy.
Randy blind raise. He can have anything.
It's Randy. Batiste will not open king 3 suited under the gun.
No.
He is aggressive, but not
Selectively.
as crazy.
But
Aaron 4 deuce suited. I mean, it's the hijack. It's not the worst.
no. There
Dan's
you go.
going to get in on the action. I think a 3-bet is better here.
Yeah, I agree. You can see Action Aaron's range is super wide, and I think it's 3 or fold.
And Randy has another ace he's going to call with reasonably in the big blind.
Yeah, you can't kill him for that. Closing the action, getting a price.
Got a
And
lot
has
of
the best hand.
A lot of wheel cards out there for these players.
No one flops anything. See if Aaron does not take a shot. Interesting.
Seems like it's a board that hits a caller's range pretty strongly.
Sure. Well, it hit Randy's right there.
Aaron picks up a flush draw on that card.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting, actually. Aaron, the ace of spades is one of the action cards in the deck.
It's a great card for Aaron to bet because he could have an ace, and of course, it makes it so he has more equity against his opponents than he used to.
Sure. And he can build a pot as well. Randy, of course, can't fold on the turn.
Yeah, he calls quickly there.
We'll see if Action Aaron bluffs a brick on the river. That is a brick.
It is a brick. I don't see a 6 in Aaron's range. Maybe in Randy's range, though. That's a problem for Aaron as far as bluffing here.
Randy's going to donk this river. I don't get that.
I don't see the value in donking here.
It's like he's repping trip 6s, but he's got a strong enough hand that he's never going to get ace queen to fold.
I think this is a mistake.
Yeah.
I think Randy made a mistake here.
If he checks, Aaron's probably going to have to fire with 4 high.
Yeah, that's a game theory disaster right there. You're getting called by a lot of better hands. Maybe once in a blue moon you get called by a jack if Aaron's feeling a little saucy, but I don't think it's going to happen too frequently.
I mean, Aaron almost never has a jack. He raised pre and checked the flop. He usually is going to bet a jack there, right?
Yeah, that hand plays way better as a bluff catcher on a river than try to give value out of a kind of an I don't know what type of spot.
And Aaron's the guy who's going to bluff, so it's a perfect time to check. So Aaron got to escape the noose a little bit that time.
He might have bluffed it too. He might have gone pot. I've seen him bet pot a lot.
I would feel obligated to bluff it if I were Aaron. Most of the time, I think in that spot I'm betting.
Yeah, you get the jacks off of there. Sometimes there's bigger spades you got to fold out.
You effectively have the worst hand you can ever have.
And look at this. Aaron's got 2 jacks now.
Just
and he just calls.
Wow.
Ooh, with his reputation, I think that's a mistake.
I agree.
I think we need to be 3-betting with our reputation because we're going to get action from so many hands.
Yeah. Jake's going to call thinking he has the best hand almost always. Now he's going to bring in Wonka with that call. Randy's going to come
Randy's in there. Batiste's for sure getting in there too.
Yep. So you could 3-bet and be isolated where you're 85% to win. Instead, the equity is 57%. That's a 28% drop.
That said, it is a well-disguised hand at this point, especially for Aaron.
No question about it. But
and
you're
that's
just
a
gonna,
bad flop for him.
Yes.
Batiste, of course, flops trips here.
I mean, it's a good flop for Aaron in that it's easy to get away from this hand.
Okay, there's that. But any of the flopped cards beats you now, and that's no fun.
Correct.
And
He's
Aaron's
gonna
going to call here. I don't know if I like this when Batiste leads into so many players.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I assume he's going to call once and fold most turns.
I think this is probably a feature of Aaron having just called preflop and not wanting to give it up just yet because he under-upped his hand. And that's quads for Batiste. This is the second quads in very little time.
And Batiste just checks it. I'm not sure why you would check there. He's trying to get Aaron to bet his king, I guess, and go for the check raise. It must be.
Yeah, I think that's actually a good plan.
Yeah, it is. Aaron's going to bet all his kings and call with all the check raises.
So
I guess it's fine.
you rescind your
Yeah, I take
thing?
it back. I take it back. You wouldn't expect Aaron to be floating a lot.
And the queen makes the board even worse for Aaron. I believe Batiste is not going to get any value here.
I mean, Batiste looks like he has 8s full of kings here, right? And there's no reason to think he doesn't, except he checked the turn, which he would do with maybe a king and an 8.
He might check the turn with his entire range.
Yeah.
I don't think Aaron can call here unless he's tilting because his jacks didn't work out that he flatted preflop.
Yeah.
That would be what we call entitlement tilt.
That is right. That's what we call it. He's thinking it through, though.
He doesn't want to fold such a big preflop hand, but he knows in the end he's not beating any value, and there aren't any missed draws that Batiste could really have, so...
Laying down a monster. Laying down a monster.
He's saying laying down a monster. There it is. He was talking it before he actually threw it away.
He didn't really lay down a monster, to be fair. He laid down a preflop monster.
if you want to say I had a full house, that sounds like it's a monster, but on that board, it's if you have anything, you have a full house on that board.
So what's entitlement tilt, Jonathan, just for those who don't know?
It's when you believe you should have won the hand because you had a good hand at some point, like pocket aces or you flopped a set or something like that. But then it's pretty clear you're not going to win and you throw the chips in anyway. You decide to call an all in or something ridiculous on a four flush board and there's two guys all in front of you. Someone called an all in already and you've got aces and you call also. That's an extreme example of entitlement tilt.
Because at one point you had a good hand and now you don't and you're upset about it.
Yeah.
And Aaron is going to do the Gibbons under the gun with the 10-4 suited.
Right. A little less rare in this game than it is in the EPT, though.
Wonka's going to isolate here.
Yeah.
It's like
Makes
40.
it 40.
And we've seen this from Wonka before. He sizes it up against this field, and I think that's the correct play because these guys are so apt to call. When you have hands of value, which Wonka often does, this is one of the worst hands we've seen him play, actually.
I mean, look how well this worked. I know he only won $15, but he folded out ace-7. He folded out a Batiste jack-9 suited. I mean, that's really effective.
Sizing it up has multiple functions here for Wonka. One, he gets to get the folds out of the random hands that he doesn't want to have to do guesswork against a lot of the time. And two, he has a lot of value hands when he plays hands, so you might as well get more money in the pot against these loose ranges.
And he was crushing Aaron's range there. Like, he had ace-deuce, Aaron had 10-4. So that's fine to play that hand in position, but you want to isolate. So that sizing really worked for him. If he made it a normal size, I'm sure he would have gotten called by everybody.
Now, I know not for everybody, but for me, the most interesting thing about these sessions is watching Wonka and Taylor, people like Taylor and Wonka who are pros, try to navigate Aaron and Randy and people like that who are going to play a ton of hands and are recreational poker players having fun, having a good time.
Yeah, the choppy waters of guys who are not afraid to put a lot of money in and put pressure on you.
Jake as well is a pro. Batiste is doesn't call himself a pro, but he has won a World Series of Poker circuit ring for over $200,000. This
flop is going to be a little something for everybody. Not so much for Batiste, I guess. He's just got two back doors.
It's not a ton of stuff for most people, but for Aaron and Randy, these are pretty big hands.
Aaron instantly folds.
The perfect fold. Perfect fold, by the way.
It's true.
He was pipped and he knew it.
That's weird. He normally calls there. I wonder why he folded. Maybe he forgot what his hand was.
Oh, look, it's your favorite shot, Jonathan.
I love this shot.
The accidental split screen with
I don't
the
know
flop
that it's
cam.
accidental. I think it's just beautiful.
Okay.
I think we should have more of that. I'm going to ask the director to give us give the camera guy, whatever,
All right,
a few more shots of that.
Martin, a few more.
Yeah.
Scorsese, I mean. Oh, he didn't want credit for this. He just wanted to do it pro bono with no credit.
Call him Marty.
Sorry.
No.
We'll cut that in post.
Great. Jacks for Taylor. He sizes it up as well to 25.
Not quite as much of a size up as Wonka, but still sizing it up compared to the table.
Yeah. And he's really new to this game compared to Wonka, so it seems like he's already adjusting a little bit.
Gets the fold out of the Queen 5. I assume Digital Dan will be calling here.
For sure.
There's not really much else to do.
Digital Dan really just has to dodge the jack on the board, and he's probably going to be fine. He probably isn't going to lose too much.
This hand doesn't play amazingly against Taylor's under-the-gun range, but it's fine to call, obviously.
Yeah, come on. You just have to, right? You just have to.
I think this hand's probably over.
It
Don't
would be
see any
shocking
other
to me
scenario.
if Digital Dan continues with that hand in that spot.
And there's Taylor's first win on Poker Time.
Digital Dan, he should just check raise all in right there. It's going to work.
I mean,
Taylor can't call.
Taylor can't call.
Taylor's going to put him on 2 5s and snap. No, obviously we're joking.
And you can't run it twice on Poker Time. You might.
That's right.
No running it twice.
Am I putting the cards here still? Is this better? More?
Maybe one day.
I do really like the dynamic of the grinder pros, Taylor, Nick, Jake, and to some extent Batiste, although he doesn't claim to be a pro, trying to navigate the crazy guys. It's fun.
Mm-hmm. But to me, the more fun part is just watching Aaron and Randy try and navigate the pros in some ways, like because they're doing their own thing. Like Randy's doing lots of interesting moves to try and navigate them, and I kind of love it. Look at this.
That's an interesting move.
Got to isolate the
and
worst 4.
He knows he's got the 4 dominated. I think this is just going to work. Yeah.
Considering your hand,
Randy is active, but when faced with aggression pre-flop, he will fold the bottom of his range.
yeah. 4 deuce is really just not going to work in most cases, especially the offsuit. I imagine if it was suited, he would have called.
I imagine he would have, and I think that would have been reasonable once you open.
I mean, barely reasonable.
They're deep.
You're out of position with a terrible hand.
Suited.
Yeah.
Looks like Randy is continuing his raising dark, which he's gotten better hands doing this than anything else so far.
It's true. This is a nice hand for sure. Jake Dahl finished second in a World Series of poker event recently, but nothing to play
To
there.
Robert Mizrachi.
Yep.
I wonder if he got a free tube of hair gel.
When Mizrachi busted him.
Yeah. It's like the Barry Greenstein book
Exactly.
thing.
He doesn't sign it. He signs the hair gel, of
Yeah.
course. All right, let's see what we got here. We got an 8 for Randy.
He's going to bet it.
That's it. And Aaron decides to call with the under pair.
I don't like that.
Here's Wonka with the actual best hand.
I assume he's just going to call here. He's never folding.
He's never folding right now. But if Randy bets the turn,
Yeah,
we may
he'll
lose
consider.
Wonka.
He'll certainly consider folding, but on the flop, against these guys, he's not folding.
There's a lot of bad cards for Wonka that he can't see coming. That
Whoa.
was one of them.
I mean, come on.
Queens, 8s, diamonds, and 3s. We're probably going to fold out Wonka. But a 3 actually isn't.
No, a 3 is not
Sorry.
a scare card at all.
I apologize. A 3 is not going to fold out. But diamonds we're going to. Anyway, so my point is there's a lot of reverse implied odds for him.
Wonka might fold anyway here, though.
Yeah.
Aaron is a loose guy, but he's betting into 2 players having called on the flop.
I mean, I don't know if this is a good fold or not long term, but it's right this time. Randy's just going to give it up too.
I don't know how
huh?
he does it. How does Wonka know to fold there?
Look at that. I don't know either. I think I'd probably call against Aaron specifically. Aaron could be betting a 10.
He could be betting a better king a lot of the time, too, though.
Sure, but he could bet a 10. He could bet all his draws there. He could
Yeah.
bet everything. He could have Queen Jack.
He
could have diamonds.
somehow he could have a set of 3s. That's not what I would put him on.
It's kind of amazing. I mean, these guys are making some tight folds early on in the session for who they are. Not Wonka, but Randy folding an 8 there. He doesn't normally do that. Aaron's been folding second pair.
Nobody wants to go to the second bullet a half hour in.
Yeah. They're going to loosen up, though. They can't help themselves. My prediction is pain.
The pain predictor. That's you.
Jake has a playable hand, but I think this is a little too early position for him. Yep.
Yeah, that's most people at the table are going to play that, including Wonka, I think, and Taylor.
I don't know if Wonka's going to play it or not.
I'm like 100%.
But-
I think. No.
I think Jake is probably, him and Digital Tanner are probably the 2 actually tightest players at this table, is my guess. We'll see as we go along.
Yeah, we will.
Randy in there, of course, with the Queen 5 off, but you can actually defend the play. Hey, another set of 3s. Back-to-back sets of 3s.
It's unfortunate for Taylor that he flops so well against these 2 guys, and they don't have anything except for a potential bluff.
And this is such a good board for Taylor.
Oh, God.
Like, one of these guys, if they have an ace, they're just going to give him a lot of money.
Or a 10 or a gut shot.
Yeah, I was going to say Queen Jack will do it for
But
sure.
nope, he just gets nothing.
Look at the face.
That's actually pretty unlucky. That's pretty unlucky.
He's like, ugh.
And he
what do I
knows
have
it,
to
too.
do?
He knows it's unlucky.
Yeah. It's like, come on, man. You don't have to even like fade the flush draw or anything like that, which is nice. That's an action-killing card on the turn a lot. You don't have to fade any of that stuff. You just get to bet. But this is what happens. Sometimes you flop good. Part of winning big in poker is getting lucky that the other guy has a hand, too.
Oh, of course. Flopping bottom set on an ace-high board against the 2 guys who are least likely to have an ace,
Yeah.
but are the most likely to continue without an ace is usually a pretty good spot.
You think it's a really, really clean, beautiful spot, but nothing that time.
Pretty big hand for Digital Dan.
And the reason why he's called Digital Dan is because he is actually not here. That's a hologram of him, and he's in Los Angeles playing this
Wow.
game. Yeah.
Poker Time has the technology.
It's more him than Poker Time, in
Oh.
fairness. He's a good friend of Mark Zuckerberg's, and they've been working on that for Facebook, apparently. So, yeah, that's actually not him. You can sort of see around the edges
Right, yeah.
that the sort of the green screening of him.
And he's actually just wearing the Green Man suit. He's not wearing that shirt. They're
Right.
superimposing that through the technology.
So for those of you who are new to the show, we are joking. He is present, and every show I always come up with a new reason why he's called Digital Dan. So there you go. I've caught you up on everything.
You'll never know the real reason.
Yeah.
It's bad. He calls with the 7-4 suited. I'd prefer to see a raise there, but that's part
Yeah.
of his strategy. He has a bit of a limping strategy.
He does, and in fairness to him, it's a balance. It's at least a somewhat balanced. limping
He
strategy.
does
will
big pairs sometimes.
Yeah, he will limp big hands.
And Randy makes it 15 over the limp on the button. I don't really know why.
I don't know either.
I guess that's a pot sweetener. That's what they call it.
I don't know why. With a hand that actually as good as King Jack, I'd like to see
like
Randy
to make it like 30, 35, maybe
at
even 40.
least 20, 25.
I mean, that's not going to work. Well, look at that. Sweeten the pot, win the pot.
Well, we'll see. Digital Dan does have a gutter.
And a backdoor flush draw.
See how much Randy makes it. Looks like it's going to be 40.
Easy fold for Batiste and probably for Dan as well.
They are deep enough. Digital Dan could call here.
Ooh, he's doing it.
I like this call against Randy. Also, with the backdoor flush draw, makes it a little bit easier.
Against a guy like Randy, I'd prefer to have some sort of showdown value, like an ace high, where we could actually consider heroing later, even if we don't improve, though.
I mean, I hear that, but it was only $40. We're just going to fold this turn now when he bets again.
Randy's betting again.
That's it. This hand's over.
Should Randy be betting again? That's a question.
I think so.
What is he going to get value out of besides other kings?
Remember Randy's reputation.
Yeah,
though.
okay, fair enough. Maybe Dan's going to call down with 6-7 here.
Dan can have 2 8s or 6-7 suited or anything.
Ooh,
Oh my gosh.
Something's going on here.
Is Dan going to raise it up?
That would be a cool play.
Oh.
He does it. Nice.
Now, this is important to mention. Digital Dan, in the last session, check raised Randy multiple times and always had it.
Yes, he did. And Randy has by now seen that session.
This is a really exciting play by Digital Dan. I didn't know he had this play in him, and he's just going to show it. Oh,
Wow.
Look at Digital Dan. He's like, yeah, I had it.
That's great. That's a great play by Dan. And I think if you're going to call with the speculative hand on the flop against a guy like Randy who's going to keep barreling, when you
Yeah.
miss, sometimes you have to make a move like that or else it's not profitable over time.
That was really, really great to see him do that. That he showed that gear, that he has that gear. And that's going to, I mean, show it. Look, Randy folded a very strong hand for this situation, right?
Even without a corporeal body, Dan manages to check raise the turn.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
All right, Digital Dan showing some dance moves out there.
Tap dance specifically is his thing.
Yeah, I call him
Tap dance and
Dan Revolution.
This is aces for Randy, basically. And he's going to size it up. 25. Maybe he's on tilt because he got check raises.
Wow, Randy just...
And he's going to win.
Randy's supposed to fold King Jack there when Digital Dan makes that.
He is.
He's absolutely supposed to fold that. Digital Dan always has him and didn't have him that time.
That's great to see.
Yeah, I think it's still a good fold by Randy for sure, but...
I guess that's part of why you don't bet the turn sometimes.
Yeah, there you go.
You don't have to put yourself in that spot.
But you assume against Digital Dan you're never going to be in a bad spot. Like, you can play perfectly.
Well, I guess you assume wrong, buddy.
Yeah. Even so, I think you can bet fold against Digital Dan and make money. So I think it's probably fine. But maybe there's more moves than I expected. Maybe we'll see more of those as we continue with the session. Very exciting. Little play by Digital Dan.
Well, this is actually a reasonable hand for Randy here to open up in the hijack. 15, though. I guess he's getting called some... Ooh. Well, this is where Aaron needs to 3-bet to get paid for his reputation, and he does.
It makes it 40. Randy's definitely going to call this one. This
Oh,
hand's
absolutely.
Way too good and in position. Everyone would call here if they opened. I don't know if everyone would open, but once they have.
I would have sized it bigger if I were Aaron.
Me too, against Randy.
And out of position. And that's the old king magnet, or ace magnets is what they call the kings.
Yeah, Randy does not take a shot, and I don't think Randy's going to take a shot at all here.
5 makes a straight now. Nobody likes this
Aaron
board.
checks. Randy really could shoot. Could fire away here. It's not the worst time. I expect he would get called.
Once he checks the turn, I think he's
It's
just giving
over,
up
yeah.
on it.
He's not going to try.
Is Aaron going to go for tiny, thin value here? Looks like it.
Definitely not going to work, but it's not unreasonable to take a shot here.
I mean, he might get raised.
And what would he do?
I think he would fold.
Me too. So that's not good.
Yeah, I'm not saying it was necessarily going to be a
okay.
good thing that happened.
I think it's okay to bet there.
What are you getting called by?
You're trying to get called by a small pocket pair.
A 4 or pocket 6s or something like that?
Something like that. That may call once. Randy likes to call.
Yeah, he does.
I think it's a mistake not to put
I believe you, but I still couldn't get you to bet.
chips in the pot, against these guys when you have opportunities to and you have a reasonable hand. I
Check
think you should try
that
and do it.
out.
I mean, this is the whole thing. Jake Dahl, 10%. Randy, 70% VPIP. VPIP, of course, is voluntary put chips in play.
Randy's is skewed by his pre-flop dark bets under the gun.
Only a little.
Yeah. And look at this. Wonka's got a real hand here.
Really seeing everybody with monsters early on. Wonka already had aces and kings.
And Randy's working on that VPIP. Got to get it up there a little bit more.
Batiste once again folding the ace 10 to
Ooh,
Wonka's
this is
open.
and Aaron's 3-betting, which is reasonable. Although against Wonka's under the gun range, a call might be better. Although
Still
I
okay.
can't fault the 3-bet.
I don't think you can kill him at all. For
And
the
Digital
3-bet
Dan's
there.
got a real hand. What he should be concerned about more than Aaron is Wonka, I think. And I know that sounds results-oriented, but Aaron's going to 3-bet a lot on the button. Wonka's not going to open a ton under the gun.
I think it's okay to call here with ace 10 suited.
It's not a call. It's
Dan's
a
going
raise.
to 4-bet. This is actually okay, too. I don't hate this play at all. Nick's Wonka is, I call him Nick. That's his actual name. But Wonka is often going to have a hand that cannot stand up this level of heat. He just
Right.
happens to have it this time.
Wonka
right?
does have maybe the strongest or second strongest under the gun range here, but it includes hands like Queen 10 suited that can't
course.
do anything about this.
Pocket sevens, hands
Yeah.
that are just going to all fold. And Digital Dan is often going to just win or get heads up with Aaron, which is great. Now, Aaron right now is sitting there thinking, I'm 100% calling this Digital Dan raise, and he's probably not going to get the chance.
Now Wonka's probably going to be putting in a 5-bet here.
Here's the one problem Wonka does have. It's Digital Dan, who's probably got the tightest 4-betting range of anyone at the table.
Although Dan's been opening it up this session.
Apparently he has. I would never think he would have ace-10 suited here.
I would be concerned that I was running into aces sometimes as Wonka, but
What are you
with
gonna
Wonka's
do?
stack as it is, I think there's not really much to do but get all your chips in the middle.
I agree.
Either by flatting and getting it in later unless a horrible thing happens, and here he goes moving all in.
Yeah, I mean, there's $300 or so in the pot already.
Randy's
It's
gone.
fine. It's fine just to win that. That's a nice win.
And Aaron's
if we
gone.
get called and the guys got aces, we were going down with them anyway, right? We were just going to get screwed.
All right, so Dan's now put himself in a spot here.
It's not that much of a spot, though, is it?
It's 735 to win 1.3K.
It's not enough.
It's not enough. It's not good enough against Wonka's range. Wonka's range is inclusive of probably queens, kings, aces, and ace king
Ace-king.
suited.
That's it.
And so we don't have a good enough equity against that range
No
to
way.
justify a call for this price.
We need there to be almost 1.5K in there, basically. We need to be getting 2-1, basically, to consider calling here. And I think we will call if we were getting 2-1 as Dan. Even we don't love it, but we just have to call anyway.
We're approaching 2-1 here.
But we're not there.
No, we're not. We're very near the bottom of our 4-betting range, and it's really a blocker 4-bet more than anything. So I think fold is in order. I think Dan will come to that conclusion ultimately once he realizes the price is not good enough.
Yeah. Also, it's not. It says 1.3K. It's actually a little less than that too. It's 1.29 or something. 1.28. So Dan's gonna do the math and no, he can't call. Also, as you said, Nick's range is super strong here. He just 5-bet all in against the Digital Dan 4-bet. Dan's got to know his own image is tight.
Absolutely.
And he actually has the weakest hand he's really ever going to show up with here, right? That isn't a complete bluff.
He's just lamenting being in this spot at all. He
Yeah.
thought it was a good spot for a 4-bet. He's probably right, but
Yeah, I think
sometimes it doesn't work out.
Yeah, I think it was a good spot for a 4-bet. I like the play. I like using his image this way, but now I think he's thinking maybe I have to call. I am getting that extra 3%, but you can see his equity is only 31%. Even with the suitedness, that's partially because there's a king of diamonds there. There's the fold. He's just going to have to make it there.
It's pretty painful though.
If Wonka has a little bit less, it's an easy call.
Yep,
You know, that's what it comes down to.
Find out in like 2 months.
How nice for Wonka. That's a little better than when he had aces the first time, right? Gets a little more action.
Yeah. On hand 1, he made $20 with aces. I think that's a little better.
Yeah. So nice to just pick up the kings, 5-bet all in and not get snapped. That's just a great feeling.
Yeah, the
not
snap-
snap part.
Best hand. I'm glad that
You want the guy to tank when you move in with kings if you're deep.
I don't know if you could just hear that, but Aaron just said, I'm glad you didn't flat because I was going to move in if you flatted. So Wonka missed out on a ton of value, I guess, if that's true.
If it's true. It's easy to say that now. But
It's reasonable with 2 9s
It
to,
is
to
not
consider doing that.
but Wonka, yeah. It is actually reasonable, you're right. Although I'd be really afraid of Digital Dan.
Yeah, I would be
range
afraid
there.
of
I don't
that.
think it's
I would
I don't think it's reasonable. There's
I-
another hand.
I would probably fold, but Aaron might have actually moved in.
Yeah. Digital Dan gonna just call with the jacks, and now Wonka has queens.
What? This is just not fair.
This is Coolerville. Everyone's got big pairs early on in the session. We've only been going for 35 minutes or so, and Wonka.
Now, this is a clear 3-bet spot out of the big blind against these players.
For sure. We can't let everyone in this cheap. Here comes a big one.
95. Fold.
Aaron
and
folds right away, and now Digital Dan in a weird
He
spot.
could 4-bet because it looks like a squeeze, and he's well under-repped.
I don't hate a 4-bet here. That looks
He's
like
just
a
going to
4-bet.
call. He just calls,
Okay.
which is fine as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You're in position. You've got a very good hand. This could work out okay. By the way, Digital Dan played a jacks against queens hands with Wonka in the last session.
Well, that's going to kill the action, and Dan's pretty lucky that that's the flop.
Yeah. They both have a heart in their hand, too, so...
It could come king of hearts, ace of hearts, and be a bit unfortunate, but that seems unlikely. Wonka
bets-
continues here, which is not automatic. What do you think about
I'm
that?
a little surprised he does. I guess maybe he thinks he can get some information.
And
against
Dan
him. I don't know.
calls.
I don't know what's going on here. I don't hate. I like the call more than I like the bet by Wonka.
I don't know if I
actually.
like either of them.
I think the call is much more reasonable. Let's see, because we can fold if Wonka continues.
I imagine we're going to see a check here.
The check. Now this is a weird spot for Digital Dan right here, though, right? He's checking, hoping he has the best hand, but he could also bet to actually fold out some hands. But there's very few hands you can successfully fold out, I guess.
I mean,
anyway.
specifically queens or kings.
It's queens
I
or
guess.
kings. That's
But
it.
Wonka has 8s, 9s, 10s, jacks in his range here. It was a very small bet pre-flop that he 3-bet.
He might even have king queen suited and things like that. He's just giving up on it, so we're just bluff catching. Yeah, I like a check back by Digital Dan.
I think we're going to see check here.
He does not go for value, and he's going to get the bad news. But he kind of lost the minimum he could ever lose. Really, I guess he could have folded the flop.
Thanks mostly to the board.
That's true.
The ace high flop really saved him there.
That's true. Wonka got one street of value, which is not so bad.
And Wonka's running a little hot right now.
Yep. Digital Dan has lost a little chunk there, the last two hands to Wonka, but it could have been worse. They could have gone a little crazy pre-flop, and they did not.
Yeah, easily.
Like, all Digital Dan did was call a raise and then call a 3-bet.
Wonder what happens if Digital Dan 3-bets initially. Does Wonka 4-bet, or does he just call out of the big blind with the 2 queens?
I'm going to guess he 4-bets, but it's close.
Queens.
I'm going to guess he 4-bets to try and knock Aaron out, make sure he gets isolated with the queens. But I don't know. Be interesting to find out.
And here's another big
This
pair.
is
What
four
is
hands
going
in a row.
on?
3 hands in a row with 4 hands with kings.
This is not a highlight show.
Kings, kings, queens, and kings. And jacks was in there too in the last hand. This is really nuts.
And no action. That happened. Taylor twice now has had these great spots with no action. He had Randy in the big blind with kings, got no action. Previously, it was against Randy and Aaron, flop bottom set on an ace-high board and got no action. That hurts almost more than losing a bunch of money, but definitely not more.
Definitely not. It looks like another blind race.
Is this from Jake?
Is it possible? It must be.
It looks like it's from Jake.
Jake is loosening up. Yes, it's from Jake. He went 10, but you know what?
The sheep have infected his brain.
He's trying to get something going, I guess. This is his way of doing it. Wonka on the button.
That's the last guy I would expect to do this.
Yeah, me too. Wonka on the button really can raise here. I don't know if he's going to, but yep.
It's basically a 5-5-10 game at this point.
No, Wonka.
He just flats.
What are you doing? That's a raise, my man. Remember, Jake raised blind.
Jake doesn't know what he has, I think.
Why are you seeing
there he is.
Now you're seeing it flop 4-handed. You could just
Look at
come
Jake's
on.
hand for a blind hand.
That's beautiful.
Pretty good. And that's a good flop for Wonka. It's
And
not
that's
amazing. It's
Better
just-
flop for Randy.
Yeah, it is.
Wonka opens. He's going to be heads up with Jake and have the best hand. Now, that's results oriented, but he's also going to open and just win the pot sometimes.
Randy won't be folding this. He raises it, actually.
Wow.
I guess you isolate by doing that, but I don't. You might be able to get value because you're Randy.
You're Randy. Your opponent has position, as it turns out, 2 back doors, so he's going to call at least once. I'd be curious to see if Randy feels he can keep firing or not. Like, I would expect him to check here. Let's see.
I would expect to check as well, but there shouldn't be too many 10s in Wonka's range.
Wonka's got to love
8-10.
this check, though.
Yeah, although there's not much he's beating except for just a random bluff.
But now he doesn't have a tough decision on the turn.
Got a 3 on the river
That's
here,
good
so
for
Randy
Randy.
makes 2 pair.
Yep.
It is a 3, no matter what the screen says.
Well, it doesn't say anything yet, but yes, there's a 3. And Randy's going to value bet this, and now Wonka's got to decide, is Randy just weird air? Like a random 6 or a 7, basically.
He has to have ace 6 or king 6 or queen 7, something like that.
He can have pretty much almost any 6 or 7, right? Because there was no raise pre. It was just a blind. It was just $5. He's calling with his entire range there. As we saw, he had 8-3 off. Also, Randy might do this with nothing at all sometimes, once in a while. Although he doesn't raise the flop that often.
I think that's what's going through Wonka's mind right there. He's smiling because he would not call against most players, but he's thinking about it here.
Yeah. Randy's also the kind of guy who will turn one pair into a bluff. So if Randy had like deuce 3 and flopped an open ender, he might be betting a tray on the river here to try and fold out a better hand. I've seen him do it. So Wonka might be thinking about that too.
Calculating.
And
He's gonna pay
does
it
find
off.
the call. It's close.
Against most players, it's not.
No, I agree. If
And
Randy
that's
hadn't raised the flop, I would feel much better as Wonka to make that call.
That's a nice come up as Randy for the last hand of this episode of the first episode of this session.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see all the big pots and all the chips flying around for the rest of the session.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more combat.
Right. So we will see you guys for the next episode next Tuesday.
See you then.